Good morning and welcome into Weather Command this morning. This is video we've been featuring throughout the morning for you. Intense, dramatic video of a rescue in Phoenix. The rescue of a man and a child trapped on top of a car as floodwaters surrounded it. Forced on top of the car because of how deep that water was. Luckily, the story does have a good ending. There it is there as they wait for rescuers. They're okay. But quite the story, I'm sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Sergeant Daniel Campbell of the Pinal County Sheriff's Office joins us now. Sergeant, thanks for being with us. Walk us through this rescue. I mean, when your team looking at as we were heading toward evening, it was already dark, the sun had set. What did your team see when they arrived on scene, and what were the first decisions made?
Well, the decision-making process for something like this starts with the moment that we're actually dispatched. We get the information. It's actually early morning hours as we're arriving. It's dark. We knew that we had some pretty significant rain the night before, and it had been a whole night full of rescues. This one, upon arriving on scene, some of our partners with the Eloy Fire Department and police department and one of our canine deputies were on scene already, and we're just starting to assess everything that's going on. And this particular one it was just off a roadway, but between several farm fields, and not a whole lot of anchors there, but tons of hidden dangers.
Yeah, and talk to me, Sergeant, in terms of the lead up to this moment. Are you aware of how they ended up in this scenario? Was this a road that was just eventually inundated with that water?
Yeah, so what ended up happening is the road was barricaded. It had some flooding. Some of that flooding may have resided, but then came back suddenly. And that's one of the dangers with swift water, floodwater in particular, is it's very unpredictable. Sounds like the victim went around some barricades, just going down the roadway. And as you can see from the video, it's difficult to see where the road ends and the fields start, and there's actually a canal that was adjacent to the field that was invisible under the water there.
It's wild to watch how first responders were scaling to make sure. I mean, you'd mentioned that there's a lot of hidden dangers. It's one of the reasons why we say it all the time too. Turn around, don't drown, but you don't know what's in the water. And so first responders doing that, I mean, we should too as drivers. The call that you received, was it from the victims, the ones that were out there, or did someone else send word that these people were stranded? And it was two people, correct?
A man and a child?
Yeah, it was a father and a young son. I'm not sure if it was a third party that ended up calling it in. By the time we got it, came through our dispatch deputy, kind of waited through them. We were already en route on the road on the way there. I believe another motorist actually saw them go around the barricades and knew that it wasn't going to go well for them. And that's the call that we got. We just started ordering resources up.
It is wild looking at the video how the ladder of the fire engine is extending across the flooded water, and it's deep. It's really deep, and that's the other thing you don't know, how deep this water is and ultimately how it just is able to lift your car. You had mentioned that there had been other rescues performed around this time. I mean, we've seen just a very soggy stretch for Arizona in the Phoenix area, outside of the Phoenix area. You mentioned Globe, but what has it been like for you on the ground in terms of dealing with these scenarios?
Oh, I want to say, not to make light of the situation, but I'm out of dry boots. We've been conducting a lot of rescues. I was actually in place in Globe when they had their catastrophic flooding events up there. It's been a very wet time for Arizona, and it came all of a sudden. It's like I said, swift water is always dangerous, but swift floodwaters are even more dangerous because of that, the unknown risks in there. And
I mean, being just a resident of Pinal County, assuming that's a county that you live in, or just in Arizona, east of Phoenix, generally speaking, that's where we're at. And you had mentioned Globe. The weather pattern that we have seen this past week, would you call it uncommon? It was something that in the weather community we were all watching, knowing that this risk was here, and it's not even technically the monsoon.
yeah, I would say it's very uncommon. I've lived out in this area for 25 years, and speaking with some of the victims in some of these cases, they've been there 40, 50 years, and they've never seen the water raise the way that it did here.
Yeah, I think we were talking about areas in Arizona, especially when you kind of slice it in half in the southern part, where we've seen a few months worth of rain in just the span of days. And so it's been a challenging time. Has a lot of the water, at least from you've noticed, it's been able to recede, because it does look like we have a nice little dry stretch for much of the state now.
Yeah, it's a good thing and a bad thing. The water does recede very quickly, which creates its own danger because the flow of the water just changes direction suddenly, and that's one of the risks that we actually run into with the father and son in the car, is that if something were to give way upstream from that, the flow of the water could change drastically and shift the car, or potentially wash them off as well. Um, I am looking forward to a little bit of a dry spell. We do like rain out here. We don't get enough of it usually. However, we would take it over a longer period of time would be better.
I preach, right? And
Yeah.
and your boots will now get an opportunity to dry out, which is also some good news, because hopefully you won't need them in the near term, but who knows? I am curious. I know we got to let you go. Do you know about how long that water rescue took? Because that's always a concern with the unpredictability of water. You know, the longer a rescue drags on, the more concerning it becomes. Was it fairly quick?
Yeah, it was fairly quick. We actually hit it from different perspectives. Eloy Fire was there. They're going to have a ladder truck coming from Casa Grande Fire, which my good friend of mine, Matt Farmer's up there in the ladder truck conducting the rescue. I was actually downstream as the rescue swimmer. Had they been washed off the car, I was going to be deployed into the water to swim to conduct the rescue. And then we actually ordered up the air asset, which is Arizona DPS, which could help either via conduct a hoist rescue if the ladder truck wasn't able to get to the victims, or be able to spot them if they did go into the water and help us conduct that rescue.
Yeah, every person had a role there, and unfortunately, a good ending. The father and son are okay, but a lesson learned for sure. We appreciate you checking in with us here on Weather Command. Sergeant Daniel Campbell of the Pinal County Sheriff's Office. Hey, best of luck, and yeah, it's dry out there in Arizona. Those boots should dry in no time.
Yeah, hopefully soon. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.